Hello, and welcome to this edition of Inside Wadsworth. My name is Jim Kovacs. I'm the Human Resources Manager for the City of Wadsworth, and I'll be the host of today's program. Today's topic is buying a HUD home. So I couldn't talk about that without some experts on my panel. I have three experts here today. Everybody is from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Kovac Realtors. So I'd like to introduce each of my guests today. We have Rick Sullivan. Rick, welcome.
Thank you.
Irene Fahey.
Yes.
Irene, welcome. And Nicole France. And welcome, Nicole. So all of you are realtors, and I got schooled on how to say realtor because I think I was adding another syllable in there. So all of you are realtors, right?
Correct.
Right.
Okay. All right, good. So let's talk just so people can kind of get to know who you are for a second. Why don't you go down and tell us how long you've been in real estate, maybe even what got you into real estate. So Rick, let's start with you.
So I've been in real estate since 2004, sold my other business, and had to do something, and always was interested in real estate, and one thing led to the next, and still here.
Good. So you like it, obviously.
Love it.
Okay,
Love it.
good.
And I too have been in real estate since 2004. Got into it as probably third career and love helping people find their homes. I've also been associated with a builder, so done a lot.
A lot of satisfaction, I would imagine, in selling people a home
Very
and
much
having them
so.
feel good about it, and you feel good about it.
Yes.
Good. Nicole, how about you?
Yeah, so I've not been licensed as long as these two have, but I did work for my father when I was in high school. He was a real estate agent. So I worked for him, and then I went to a title company where I worked for about 5 years. Took some time off to be a stay-at-home mom, and then I decided that I needed some supplemental income, and real estate was, something that I knew and enjoyed, and I really do enjoy this side of things. So it's a lot more rewarding than sitting behind a desk and doing the paperwork all the time.
Okay. And if your father did it, it sounds like you must have real estate in your DNA, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, good. So it's family affair. All right. Well, good. Thank you. Nice to meet all of you and welcome you to the program. So today we're going to talk about HUD and buying a HUD home. Irene, I think you're going to help us out with defining what HUD is. So just in case somebody doesn't know what HUD is. What is
HUD
that?
is a department within the federal government. It's called Housing and Urban Development. And essentially HUD encompasses all types of programs within the federal government, whether it's buying a home or regulating home purchases or regulating the lending industry. It's a pretty broad department, and in one way or shape or form, we've all had to deal with HUD, but kind of behind the scenes.
Okay. All right. So that sets the backdrop. Rick, let's talk to you. What are HUD homes? The subject of the show is buying a HUD home. What are HUD homes?
So what happens is when an individual stops paying their mortgage, they get foreclosed on.
Okay.
However, in the case of the HUD homes, HUD provides insurance coverage to the banks, and they take care of that part of it, and hence then they pay off the banks, the lenders, and then they assume the property, and now we have to resell that property.
So HUD owns the home.
HUD
then,
owns the home.
at that point.
Yep,
Okay.
they carry the deed.
So why would a HUD home be considered a good deal then?
You know, I just think it's a heck of an opportunity for an individual to break into the housing market at an unbelievable cost. I think number one, the cost is below fair market share
Value.
cost.
Sure.
It's just a heck of an opportunity. Number two, I think I don't think they come in with their field service team and they test the house out. They test the appliances and they give you a report. They want you, the buyer, to know all about the house. What's good, what's bad, how can you fix it up? What's the cost going to be? So they're being right up front and fair with you. And it's not that you don't need an inspection, but they're helping out with that to start. So and then thirdly, they want to put real people in real houses as fast as they can. So the third benefit for a person that's looking for one of these deals is they let the first few days be only for people who are going to own it and occupy it as opposed to an investor. So everything's stacked on the owner occupiers side.
Good. Well, sounds like a good deal.
It
then.
is a good deal.
All right. So Now that we know what they are and how good of a deal they are, Irene, help us out on how we might locate or find a HUD home for sale.
Well, you have a very easy way to do it in today's world because HUD has a website called HUDhomestore.com. All one word.
HUDhomestore.com, okay?
Yes. And when you go to HUDhomestore.com, you will find this home page. And it's very simple, it's very intuitive. You simply select the state where you are looking for a home, and you'll see there's a drop down. So you say you're from Wadsworth and you decide you want to find a house in Wadsworth. So you pull down and you choose Ohio. And then you go, it will pull up the state, then you must type in the counties. So in this case, we're showing you Medina County so that you can see all the homes that are available in Medina County. And then a list will populate. Now, this list...
Just from putting the state and the county, that's what you're going to get there.
So you're going to get everything in Medina County.
Okay.
So what you'll see here, there's a lot of information on this page, but you'll see the individual properties, and then you will see that there's the address, there's a code that is given by HUD to that property. And then what you will do is you can see the price, and you'll see there's a column there and it says extended. In this case, that extended means that it's open to everyone, including investors.
Including an investor.
Right.
Now, why would that be? Has that been on the market for a while? Is that possibly
Correct.
why that's like that?
It is,
Okay.
because initially what happens is when a house comes on the market, it's put on the market by HUD, the first 10 to 20 days that property is only available to folks who are owner occupied.
That's what Rick was saying. You want to
Correct.
focus on somebody going in and not investing, actually moving into the home.
Correct. They have to move in and they have to swear that they're going to live there for a year.
Okay.
So when it says exclusive, only those properties are available to you as a homeowner, possible homeowner.
Good.
Now, if it says extended, then it's available to anyone.
Probably gone beyond that maybe
Correct.
20-day period.
Correct.
Okay.
So once you see that particular property and you say you find something you like very much, or you have more interest in, then you click on the code that is provided by the HUD site.
So you find on that listing previously, you see a home you like, you click on it, and then it comes to this page here.
It comes to this page here.
Okay.
This page gives you a great deal of information. It gives you how many bedrooms, the cost, obviously the location, what type of financing you need to have, and that sort of thing. And we'll get into the financing here shortly.
Sure.
But this page also allows you to search for more information on that property, and you'll see there is a tab that says addendums. And we moved to the next one first. This gives you the amenities, how many bedrooms, whether it's a full basement. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information, but at least more than you had on the previous page.
Okay.
The next tab gives you the addendums. Now this page is very important.
What would be an addendum?
An addendum is additional documents
Okay.
that the acquisition company, in this case it's called Sage Acquisitions, the acquisition company manages the property for HUD. HUD doesn't actually manage it themselves.
I see.
So once you go back to that page and you look at the addendums, you'll see a property condition report. And you want to click on that property condition report, and this is what you'll see. This is important because the property condition report is what was provided by the asset management company after they did a full inspection of the house.
So they inspect it once they take control of it. They inspect
Correct.
it, write a report, put that information here, what they find.
Correct, because sometimes those properties have been vacant for a short time, and
Okay.
we at this point HUD has no idea of what condition the house may be in.
Okay.
So they will go ahead and you'll look at that condition report, and that condition report will tell you whether the furnace is functional, if there's issues with the plumbing, if there's issues with the electrical, and there's a lot of detailed information. So that's important for you to see because you want to know if that house is something you want to tackle.
Yeah, because if you're not a fixer-upper, because I can admit I'm not a fixer-upper, much to my wife's chagrin, I probably wouldn't want to get a home that has a laundry list of things there then, right?
Correct.
But if you're handy, it may not be so bad.
Well, I think Rick can probably
Well,
answer that
what
better.
I'd like to say
Sure.
is, so when they sell the HUD homes and they tell you that there's going to be some things to fix up, just
Sure.
like you're concerned about. And everybody thinks, half the people think, well, I'll fix that house up myself. And the other half think, I have no skills. Well, the reality is you need to get the proper loan to cover that, a renovation loan. And so, unfortunately, they don't let the homeowner repair the house. They
Oh, I
want
see.
certified contractors, licensed
They want it
contractors. They want it fixed properly. They want somebody to oversee that. So when you move in that house, you're happy and you know
Ready
things
to
work.
go.
Yep.
So it's livable at the time that you're moving in, not waiting until you repair and renovate.
Now, there is an exception to that rule, and that's
Okay.
if you pay cash for the house.
Okay.
And then I think you need to go in with eyes wide open, and that's why that inspection report is important to you. If you are going to pay cash for the home, say you're an investor, you want to know how much work you have to face and what it's going to cost you to repair it. Because sometimes investors may buy it to rent out, or they may buy it to flip, as one might say, in this day and age. And so they need to know what their costs are going to be up front.
Is there an estimate, once you see that report of what needs fixed, is there an estimate somewhere that shows you how much it might cost, or that's something the potential homeowner would have to go explore?
Yes, there is an estimate. It is an additional document that's in the addendums.
Okay.
And that's a disclosure. And the disclosure will tell you exactly what the asset management company feels it will cost to repair the home. Now, that's based on the information that they see, but of course, if you're someone who wants to add new carpet or add some other things, it's going to cost you a little more. So.
What are we looking at? Oh, the screen
There
just
goes.
went away. What
That
are we
was
looking
the
at
property disclosure, and that is where it tells you what the costs may be for any repairs. It will also tell you if there's any assessments that have been that are on the property from the county as part of the property taxes. And then you'll see it also talks about FHA. And when you borrow money, sometimes you borrow it through a lender on an FHA program, which is an insured mortgage. So FHA does have certain requirements, and that's something that a buyer would discuss with their lender.
Okay. What's nice too about that property report, it sounds like it's very unbiased. It's somebody coming in and saying, this is what I really feel is wrong. And so you can really kind of trust that with more certainty. Is that a good assumption or a bad assumption?
Do you agree, Nicole? Do you think you should trust that?
I would say that it's probably kind of vague. I mean, they do test the main functions of the home, but you know, as she mentioned about carpet and paint, drywall, that kind of thing, they don't really put a number to that. So it's really just kind of a starting point for
The base problems.
Yeah, as far as being biased, I don't know. I mean, I would say that they probably purposely exclude the cosmetics because they're not worried about cosmetics anyways.
Working in basic function, structure, all that.
Right. Health and safety is their main concern. If it's a health and safety issue, they're going to include that as a repair, definitely.
Irene, did we get through the web page there? Was there any other slide that we
No,
wanted to highlight
that's
there?
essentially what you'll see when you go to it as a buyer, per se.
Irene, I'm a buyer. I've looked through, I've scanned through the whole list. Boy, I like that third house down from the top. Now what do I do?
You call your favorite realtor.
Okay.
Actually, maybe a little you call your favorite realtor, but before you do that, you want to call your lender. If you're looking to finance, you want to call your lender and get pre-approved. That's very important because a lot of folks see the house, they get excited, and they say, "Oh boy, I can buy this house. It's a great price. I want to I want to go see it. I want to buy it." But the truth is, you really need to talk to a lender and see what you're qualified to borrow, and that's a very important piece. And when you call your agent or your realtor, that realtor will tell you the same thing. Are you pre-approved? Have you talked to a lender? So it's always, I think, whether you're a HUD buyer or any other potential home buyer, you want to talk to your lender first.
Nicole, you could almost do that before you even, whether you're thinking of a HUD home or any home.
Oh,
you could go to your
absolutely.
bank and talk
Definitely.
about pre-approval for a
Oh
loan?
yeah, and actually, I mean that's being proactive. If you're in the market for looking, for a home, you definitely want to talk to your lender first and foremost. If for no other reason, if you're not actually at a point that you can purchase something, they will tell you what you need to do to get to that point. And especially when it comes to a HUD home, because their goal is to sell it as quickly as possible. So, I just had one that sold. There was many showings, many bids placed on it, and I had several buyers that called and they wanted to look at it. However, they hadn't even talked to their bank yet. At this point, there's been multiple bids placed. People who have already been pre-approved. So these buyers are they're way behind. They're not going to get anywhere with this because the goal is to get it sold quickly for the highest price. And if they're not even pre-approved yet, they're wasting their time.
What kind of time frame are we looking at? If I think, okay, I'm in the market for a home, I want to go to my lender, talk to them. From the time I make that initial reach out to my lender to the point that I know how much I can borrow, how long? What's the time frame?
So typically they can do that in the same day.
Yeah.
They
Really?
get you
Same
pre-approved.
day?
They're going to ask
Oh,
you
yeah.
some rudimentary questions about where you work and how much you make and your expenses, that kind of thing, and then they can draft a letter real quickly to a realtor saying Jim can purchase up to whatever amount of money, and we know that you're good and you're solid, and we can move forward.
Wow,
Right.
so it's that easy.
Yeah,
Yes.
the key is you have to take that first step.
Right.
Right, and it's convincing people that want to buy a home to go do that first step, right?
Right.
Right.
And it proves that you are a serious buyer.
Right. Doesn't sound like it's a big time investment or really a lot of work to do
no.
either. Probably the lender is the one that's doing the investigating and checking, and
Right.
so it's pretty easy, sounds
Yep.
like.
It is.
Okay, all right. So we talked about the repairs. We kind of know now what needs done with the home. I think I just want to make sure we understand that when you buy that home, it's as is. Is that and maybe even describe what as is? I think I know what that means, but let's make sure everybody does. Who wants to tackle that? So.
Well, when we say as is, it is the condition that it's in when you see it, when you walk in the door the first time.
Okay.
HUD will make no repairs of any kind. And as a good realtor will always recommend that after you've looked at the house and you've seen the addendums and you see what repairs are needed and you decide you want to bid, and part of the bid process once it's accepted is that you have it inspected by your own inspector. Because even though they've done an inspection, you want to have your own home inspector go through it to see if there was anything that may have been missed or anything that is critical or could be costly to you. So, so as is means as is.
Okay. If you get your own inspector comes in and says, boy, I think they missed this problem. Now what?
Well, after the bid is accepted, there's a process which is pretty standard. It's you receive a contract. Your realtor, you'll receive the contract, and in the contract you can make it contingent upon a home inspection. Now that is going to protect the buyer in the event that there is, let's just say, a major structural issue that was missed. Not that would probably be likely, but that's going to protect the buyer. If it's a $20,000 repair and they can't do it or get the financing for it, that's going to be their protection as far as being able to walk away with it or walk away from it without being obligated to fulfill that contract.
That probably doesn't happen too often, does it?
With HUD homes, no, because it's as is.
Right.
That's so it's few and far between, but it's
now it's
an
as
option.
is, but you do have to make those repairs. I think that's what you were talking about, Rick, right? So it's as is, but you've got to make the repairs before you move in.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so at some point it really doesn't become, it's not really as is at some point. By the time you move in, it's
It as
big.
is for an investor who may pay cash, but
Okay.
when you,
Conventional financing is also a lot more lax as far as, the main issue is FHA. FHA, health and safety, that's a big thing. And so that's why it's uninsurable as far as that goes with the major repairs. But conventional, their requirements are a little bit So, handrails and safety things like that aren't going to be an issue with conventional financing. As far as the FHA, the 203K, that kind of thing, the repairs, I don't know that they necessarily would need to be done before closing. That's something that's done after the title company holds the money for the repairs, which comes out of the buyer's pocket, not the seller's. So HUD will never make repairs or even pay for repairs. Anytime that they would repair something, in my experience, would be prior to even listing the home, such as adding a handrail or covering up a hole in the floor.
Something big.
But as far as anything being done prior to closing, that would only be if it's FHA and it's like a handrail health safety type thing. And then it's paid for out of escrow from the buyer. So that's kind of how that works.
Okay. Are there any restrictions on who can place these bids? I know you said you have to, swear that you're going to live there for a year, but is it restricted to any certain type of people, income, anything like that? Can anybody bid?
So that's why you call your lender and you get that information up front, because we want to know, can you buy a $25,000 HUD house, a $50,000? What are you qualified for? And that pre-approval is going to tell the realtor how much you're pre-approved for. And that's the only restriction.
That's the only restriction.
And also if it's insurable, with the FHA, if they're going to be going FHA or conventional, and if it's even going to work for the house that's,
I see.
that they're looking at.
So now I'm eligible. I've got my lender letter, says I'm ready, I can buy this home. I put in my bid. How long does it take from the time that I bid, and assuming I win it, to the time that I can move in?
Well, your bid actually has to be placed by your realtor. Your realtor is the only one who can place a bid for you.
Key point here
Key
today,
point,
right?
yes.
Okay.
And so they place a bid, and then HUD receives, they could receive multiple bids, they could receive, one bid. We have no way of knowing how many bids they receive, but there's a window of time when it's an owner occupied when they receive all their bids, and at that deadline on the last day, they will look at all the bids and take the highest and best. So, you could be bidding against 20 people, but you won't know that, and neither does your realtor. But you place your bid, and then the day after the deadline, if it's not on a weekend, the day after that deadline, they will announce, or they will send your agent an email announcing if you've won the bid or not.
So every agent gets notified yes or no as to the status of the bid.
The winner gets notified.
Oh, the winner gets notified.
Yes.
Oh, so you hope for that good communication.
Hope for that communication.
Okay.
And so from that point, I would say it would be a standard for a cash deal, 30 days. For a finance deal would be 45 days. And the good thing about that is that it doesn't usually get held up because repairs aren't being made. Back to that home inspection, there may be, unless there was a major issue that was brought up in the home inspection. Whereas your standard real estate transaction, you don't really have that inspection that's done initially to give you kind of a forewarning of what may be wrong. So usually, 30 days for a cash deal, 45 for
and is that enough time typically to get some of those repairs done too, but before you move in? I mean, is that a good
No,
window?
so you're not going to do the repairs before you move in. It has to be deeded in your name.
Right.
Then you can go in and have the work begun, or someone's going to do the work for you, depending on what type of loan you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. I know this might be dumb, but is a HUD home always unoccupied? Somebody's foreclosed on their mortgage, but maybe...
First question on the sheet, is the house unoccupied? That's one of the things we have to do. Do reports. It's
And
always
it must
the first.
be.
And so they are typically, at this point, I have not run into one that's
I haven't
occupied.
either.
Because does it ever happen that somebody forecloses on a mortgage and they're still in the home? Does that happen?
Oh, I'm sure it does.
But it's not going to end up being a HUD home at that point.
Right. The
But
bank,
So
the
far
lender
it is.
has already gone through, once they start foreclosure proceedings, they've gone through the eviction process if the person has not moved, the owner has not moved out. That's a long process with the lender foreclosing. So generally by the time HUD gets it, it's empty.
So it's easy and simple then, pretty much, when
It
it
is,
gets to the HUD
right.
stage. It's
Right.
really, that's what makes it a nice opportunity for
Right.
folks. Okay, good. What other, were there any other screenshots or things that we missed?
No,
or didn't show
that's
today?
essentially it. Once the bid's accepted, then your agent will assist you in going through the rest of the process, and that's one of the things that we do. We just don't leave you hanging once the bid's accepted. There is an additional process of a full contract that has to be submitted, and it has to be submitted within a very short window of time, 24 to 48 hours. And that is then submitted to the acquisition company, in this case Sage Acquisitions. They review the entire contract, and then they will send your agent an acceptance letter, or an acceptance email, if you will, that says your bid's been fully accepted. And at that point, you are already going to your lender to start the loan process and making sure that all of your paperwork and your lender, that whole loan process is started. So now the clock is ticking on that 45 days.
Okay.
So.
Good, really good information. I'm going to summarize a couple points that I took away from this today because I came in kind of cold to this, so it was a learning experience for me. So a HUD home is a good opportunity,
Great opportunity.
Absolutely.
good price, good. You can
Yes.
typically
Excellent.
get a good
Excellent.
price for a home.
Yes.
Let's see your lender, right? Go to
Yes.
see your lender. That's
First
pretty
thing,
critical.
right on top
First
of the
thing,
list.
you
Yep.
should do that before you even start.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Correct.
advice for anybody watching.
For
Go
anybody.
see your lender.
Not even people looking for a
And
HUD
I
home.
think this last one, I'm not sure on this last one, but see an agent, right?
See your realtor.
See your realtor.
Okay, so that's critical for a HUD home, obviously.
Yes.
Can't get in without a realtor. Can't put in a bid without a realtor. See your realtor.
Anything else we missed that you wanted to get out today?
No, I think we've pretty much
Covered
told
it all.
most of what is involved in buying a HUD house.
If somebody wants more information, where can they go? Because we have about 45 seconds left. So where can they go? Joanna, did you have a phone number that you could put on the screen there? There we go. So that's the general number for Berkshire Hathaway.
Correct, and you can ask for any agent to assist you. All of our agents are well versed in HUD homes, and we'll be happy to show you a house, tell you how to buy it, and walk you through.
Fantastic. Rick Sullivan, Irene Fahey, Nicole France, excellent information. Appreciate you being my guest here today on Inside Wadsworth, and we thank you for joining us here on Inside Wadsworth.